a macabre hand that emits invisible light, a strange pair of pants that brings money, the last chalice used at the Last Supper. These and other magical items you will see here. King Solomon was a very unique guy because of the incredible wisdom he had, but that wasn't the only interesting quality about him. They say he had the gift of taming supernatural things. No man before had gained the ability to tame demons, but King Solomon received an incredible talent from God to transform evil things into something beneficial for society. They say he created enchantments that were able to relieve pain and drive out demons once and for all. But there was more than that. He supposedly had his own team of demons who worked for him. If he needed anything, he just had to ask these demons and they would do it without hesitation. It's said that with the help of demons, he managed to grow a tropical plantation in Palestine. How did he accomplish this feat? Well, he simply asked the demons to bring him water. The demons would travel to India to fetch water for King Solomon. King Solomon was able to do this thanks to two things, his wisdom and a magic ring. To gain wisdom like King Solomon, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it, as it greatly supports my work. To learn more about magical items and mythology, check out the links in the pinned comment. Clicking on them helps me out a lot. Well, King Solomon ended up using these demons to build the Temple of Jerusalem. But of course, before he did that, they caused some problems. Actually, one of them did. One of these demons, who was the son of an archangel, according to him, the son of Archangel Uriel, had been tormenting a boy there in Solomon's kingdom. Every night he would go to the boy's room and wouldn't let him sleep. So the boy ended up getting desperate and asked King Solomon for help. Solomon went to a specific place in the kingdom, a sacred place, and prayed to God to send help for this boy. So God sent none other than Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael didn't go there to hunt the demon, though. Actually, he went there to give a ring to King Solomon. The ring had the holy name written on it. He told King Solomon to use this ring to capture the demon. I have a video on the channel where I tell this story in more detail. If you want to watch it, I'll leave it there for you. Well, King Solomon went there, gave the ring to the boy, and during the night when the demon named Ornias appeared, he threw it at the demon's chest. So the demon was subdued by the ring. Once the demon was captured, the boy took the ring back to King Solomon, who, using Ornias, ended up summoning several other spirits to him and subdued all of them, always asking the demon's name, its origin, and what would make it be subdued, the celestial being that would subdue it. Thus, one by one, these demons were forced to work in the temple. According to Goethe, this ring would also serve to protect the magician who summoned the demon from the toxic breath of each of these spirits. Solomon, son of David, this is the gift that the Lord, the God of hosts, has sent to you. With this ring, you will have power over all the demons of the earth, both male and female, and with their help, you will build Jerusalem. But remember, this is the sign of God, and its engraving is a pentagram. The Philosopher's Stone is one of the most famous legends there is. It's said to be an object or substance that can turn common metal into gold or silver, but there's more to it than that. It would also be able to rejuvenate the person who possessed this substance, or even make them immortal. And it could also do many other things. Create a lamp that would never go out, create a flexible glass that wouldn't break easily, turn crystals into precious stones, and revive dead plants. And on top of that, they say that some alchemists could use this substance to create a homunculus, which would be a being with artificial life. For a long time, alchemists tried to create the Philosopher's Stone, not just wanting gold and silver or to achieve immortality, but because they say that the alchemist who managed to accomplish this would reach enlightenment and would have completed the so-called great work. The Philosopher's Stone could have several names. The white stone by the river, the raw material, the sword in the stone, or the powder. According to the text, the Philosopher's Stone had two forms. The first was a white stone which could turn metals into silver, or the red stone, which was much stronger and could turn metals into gold. Basically, the white stone was a less developed form of the red stone. The ancient alchemists left some clues about the appearance of this stone, especially the red version, They describe the powder's color as between orange and red, resembling saffron. In solid form, it would be something between red and purple, with a glassy and translucent shine. In addition, reports claim that it was heavier than gold, soluble in any liquid, and resistant to fire. The first known written mention of the Philosopher's Stone appears in Zero-Quemeda. The first known written mention of the Philosopher's Stone appears in Zero-Quemeda, one of the oldest texts on alchemy, written by Zoximos of Panopolis around 300 AD. But many alchemists believed that its history was even older. Liz Ashmo and the anonymous author of Gloria Mundi claimed that the knowledge came from Adam himself, who would have received it directly from God. According to legend, the secret of the Philosopher's Stone was passed down through generations by biblical patriarchs, being the key to their supposed longevity. Some traditions even link the stone to the story of Solomon's temple and to the cornerstone that was rejected, mentioned in Psalm 118. Philosophically, the idea of creating the Philosopher's Stone originated with the ancient Greeks. The alchemists drew inspiration from the four elements theory, the idea of anima mundi, the world's soul, and the creation of the universe as described in Plato's Timaeus. Plato believed that all elements originated from a single source, the prima materia or raw material, which alchemists considered the starting point for creating the Philosopher's Stone. This concept persisted for centuries, and in the 17th century, Thomas Vaughan wrote, "The prima materia of the stone is the same as the prima materia of all things." Hand of Glory is one of the most bizarre magical objects that may have ever existed. It appears in several old records of Inquisition and also in records of thefts. And to be honest with you, in fact, it's not really an object that a decent person would want to use, right? Or at least it wouldn't be of any use. Normally, the ones who used it were witches and thieves. The first mentions of the Hand of Glory happened in 1440, but it would only actually receive that name in 1770. Originally, the name Hand of Glory was the name of a mandrake root. That plant that looks like it has a human shape. The Hand of Glory, despite its name, is not a glorious hand, but rather a dried human hand. The glorious hand is something else entirely. But the Hand of Glory would be used by these people as if it were a candle. And on top of that, this light prevented anyone who was in the house or in the place where this object was being used from waking up. In other words, the ideal target for a thief. But just like everything in magic isn't that easy, obtaining a Hand of Glory is not easy at all. First, it would have to be taken from a corpse, from a body there, and this body couldn't be just anyone's. It should be from someone who was hanged, let's say, within 24 hours. So the hand should be cut off with a single blow, and this person's body should be hanging in a yard by the side of a road. Along with the hand, a bit of hair and body fat should also be taken from there. These would be used to make the candle. The hand would be drained of its blood with a piece of shroud cloth soaked in a mixture, which I won't mention here because there's no need, but it should stay in that container with the mixture for at least 2 weeks. After that, it would be left to dry in the sun on the hottest days. Or if that's not possible, in an oven where verbena and bay would also be burned. After shaping the hand into a fist, a candle made of human fat, virgin beeswax, and sesame oil would be placed in it, using the hair as the wick. Upon arriving at the target house, the thief simply needed to light the candle and recite a specific verse to ensure everyone stayed asleep. The candle had a very interesting property. It wouldn't go out even when submerged in water. It would only be extinguished with fresh milk in blood, or if someone in the house for some reason woke up and put out the candle. What's even more interesting is that the candle would burn without being consumed. And the museum nowadays, which is the Whitby, something like that, over in England, has one of the Hands of Glory in its collection, which makes the legend in a way real. Nabrok, which can also be translated as necropants or death pants, is another very bizarre artifact. It's a pair of pants made from the skin of a dead man, see? According to the 17th century ritual, it was believed to attract a constant, unlimited flow of money to its wearer. To create the Nabrok, the first step was to get the person's permission to use their skin after their death. and after the person passed away, they would be buried, but the body needed to be exhumed so that their skin could be removed. The pants were made from the skin removed from the waist down. After removal, it had to be worn while fresh to stick to the wearer's body. But there was more to it. The wearer of the necropants also had to steal a coin from a poor widow during a very important holiday such as Christmas, Easter, or All Souls' Day. The coin had to be placed in the pants sack, let's say, in a piece of paper. This would ensure that the ritual was effective and that the user would have a lot of luck and a lot of money. The owner of the pants could use them for their entire life to enjoy their powers, but it was forbidden to die wearing them. Otherwise, there was a risk that your body would be immediately infested with lice, and you would have to wander the earth forever. In this way, necroculture had to be passed from one generation to another, but for it to continue bringing fortune, the new owner needed to put on the right leg before the previous owner took off the left leg of the pants. The Spear of Destiny, also called the Spear of Longinus, is the weapon that, according to Catholic tradition, was used by the Roman soldier Longinus to pierce the side of Jesus Christ during the crucifixion, as described in the Gospel of John 19:34. What happened was that the blood and water that came out of Christ was seen as a miracle that symbolizes the union of Christ's humanity and divinity. The blood representing humanity in the water, divinity. The relic of the spear was said to have been found in Antioch by a monk named Pedro Bartolomeu during the First Crusade. He claimed to have been guided by St. Andre to the Church of St. Peter, where the spear was hidden, although there are doubts about the authenticity of the relic, and it had a great moral impact on the Crusaders, who believed that the spear brought a miraculous victory against the Muslims, with the army of saints fighting alongside them. The Holy Grail legend, believed by many to be the chalice used by Jesus at the Last Supper, is shrouded in mystery with multiple versions. The Grail, besides being associated with the chalice, in some stories represents something deeper, such as a spiritual state of grace or union with God. In some versions, it carries Christ's blood from his wounds. Here it is called the sangreal, or royal blood. The tale allegedly started with Lucifer, an emerald-wearing angel cast out of heaven for rebelling against God. The emerald is said to have fallen to earth and was used to decorate a chalice. Later, the Grail was found by Joseph of Arimathea, who took it after the crucifixion of Jesus and then fled to France, where the Grail disappeared. It is said that it was kept in a mysterious castle, protected by the descendants of Joseph's sister. One of the most well-known versions would also involve King Arthur and his knights. The Grail would be hidden in a castle, and whoever managed to see it could heal Kingfisher, who was dying. For the Knights of the Round Table, finding the Grail was a greater mission. Lancelot almost succeeded, in fact, but his sin prevented him. Percival had a vision of the Grail, but he didn't understand its meaning. Only Galahad, Lancelot's son, pure of heart, was able to see it completely. And after his journey to Sarras, he had a vision of the Grail and died soon after, in ecstasy. In summary, the Grail is a symbol of spiritual purity and redemption, with different versions about its origin, destiny, and the quest to find it. This isn't exactly an object, but it's still fascinating and magical. I'm talking here about the Eye of Ra, which was the female counterpart of the Egyptian sun god, and often took the form of one of the divine goddesses to accomplish something on earth, such as Hathor, Sekhmet, Bastet, Wadjet, and Menhit. This meant that the eye could leave Ra's body and sort of distribute punishment with the absolute power of its rays. For example, in that myth where Sekhmet ends up kind of killing several people on Earth at Ra's own command. Actually, in this case, according to some legends, she would be the form of the Eye of Ra. The Eye of Ra had a very deep meaning in ancient Egypt, due to the belief in its authority and omnipotent power. It was very common for it to be carved on doors or entrances of temples, as evidence of its all-seeing gaze. The Egyptians also believed that it could repel negative energy and restore harmony, and the pharaohs used its eye symbols as a form of defense against enemies. The Egyptians also often used the Eye of Ra in jewelry, talismans, or amulets believing that it gave the wearer the ability to repel negative energies. The symbol also appeared on sarcophagi and pyramids, because the Egyptians believed that the eye could protect the delicate soul on its journey in the afterlife, keeping it alive and safe. I mean, alive more or less, but you get it? On the other hand, even though the Eye of Ra could be used as a kind of symbol of protection to save humanity, the opposite could also happen, symbolizing that Ra is omnipresent. He sees and knows all, and with that he could punish humanity. As in the story of Sekhmet, it's crucial not to mix up the Eye of Ra and the Eye of Horus. The Eye of Horus represents the moon, while the Eye of Ra symbolizes the sun. If you've watched this far, please rate the video and leave a comment if you can. Share the video, hype it up, and subscribe to the channel. The better the videos perform, the faster I'll bring similar topics to the channel. Thank you so much. See you. Bye.